On to the Ask Me Anything session. My name is Cindy Hart. I'm Program Director of Online Programs here in Reed College of Media. I do a little bit of everything, so I'm here to help you no matter what area you need assistance in. We have three amazing instructors joining us today. We have instructors from the Data, Digital, and Integrated Marketing Communications program. And I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. I'll start with Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Teller. I teach in the Digital Marketing Communications program. I teach Intro to Digital, and I also teach mobile marketing, audience segmentation, customer engagement, ethics, and strategy. And I've been teaching in the program for, I think, about 5 years, and I am loving it.
Hey, Matthew.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's great to be here. So I'm a 2006 graduate of the IMC program. I've taught the intro course in the IMC program since that year, since 2006, so going on 17 years now. For my day job, I lead PR and media relations. I'm a spokesperson for a Fortune 500 insurance company based here in Pennsylvania.
Okay, Dan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan DiPiazzo, and I'm a graduate of the data marketing program. And I've been teaching now for, I guess this is my 4th year as an instructor. I teach both the intro course in data marketing and also message customization. And I also teach in the IMC program, the research course as well. So had a little experience in all of that. And then I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta.
Okay, well, we're offering this session so that you can actually get all of your questions answered. So feel free to ask anything that you want to know between the instructors, and our team is online, so we'll be glad to help any way we can. So do we have any questions?
We should give bonus points for the first student to ask questions in that intro course. Who's going to break the ice?
Train leaves Chicago. 40. No. Sorry.
33.
My name's Erin. I don't have any specific questions. I just joined to, I guess, to be here. It's been about 20 years since I've been in school, but I'm excited to get started in January.
Congratulations.
Excellent. Well, could I ask a question of our future students, and perhaps maybe what is one of the things that you are most concerned about, whether that be how to kind of balance, work, life, school, what are those things that you're like most concerned about or nervous about heading into this new endeavor?
I'll take that one. I took the intro course in January in the IMC program, and so I think, and it's not really a question, but I think the thing that I would say most nervous about is also saying I've been out of school other than like military professional education for a while. So unless we're writing papers about China, like I'm a little out of practice. So I guess expectations. So I do public affairs every day for work, but I think translating that into a grad program, I'm nervous I'm going to struggle with it. I don't know. I don't know how to put that in the form of a question. So I would not be a good Jeopardy guest, but I guess you guys probably see a lot of similar students come through. So I guess is there a sticky point that a lot of the, I would say like military, like IMC, PA practitioners struggle with when they come through the courses, and not just IMC, but any of them, I guess?
Well, I can address one aspect of what you said, which is the returning part. So when I joined the data at the risk of aging myself. I'd been out of school like 30 years before I came back, and had, you know, kids in college myself at the time. So you know, this was a long gap, but you quickly get back in the cycle. And I think the way the programs are designed, it really helps you to get a rhythm and to work it into your everyday life too. Things are pretty well laid out in terms of when assignments are due, when discussions take place. You get all the materials up front so you can figure that out. And it really allows you to work it into your work schedule. And I think you will find that your real life experience will be very valuable to you. It's always interesting to hear from students at different levels and in a different seniority and all of that, but I think it's always great when you have some real life experience to draw on.
Okay, that's good. I don't want to be the student that's like, oh, you know, everything that I have to offer is only, you know, from a military point of view, I guess, without a lot of civilian sector experience.
Well, and we do have a lot of resources as well. I see students who have been out for a while. They may struggle with writing. APA format's the big one, but we have a virtual writing center here at WVU, and in the orientation, we have numerous resources available. So that's not really an area to stress over, because we are here to help with that as well.
Yeah, nothing we do in the intro course compares to writing papers about China. So I think you'll be in good shape there for sure. You know, and I don't know what the official numbers are in terms of admissions, especially for this class, and each one's unique. But you know, as an instructor, I guess we see students in 3 different areas, right? So recent graduates, we have those students who have been maybe out of school for 20, 25 years, and they're getting back in. Some of them want to teach, and so they're pursuing a master's for that reason. And then obviously you have students who are kind of the mid-career professionals, you know, 6-10 years of experience. The beauty of it is that everyone is learning from each other. And I often say this in the first week of IMC 610, you're going to learn as much, if not more, from each other than you will from me, than you will from the course material or the readings. And that's really by design. So I think that you're going to provide a perspective on the discussion boards and in the assignments that other students are going to benefit from, and vice versa.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I think fundamentally, like the foundation of adult learning theory is that we're learning all of the time. You know, it just might not be in a formal context. So my guess is that you already have a lot of the skill sets needed. Some of that just might be coming up with a new, you know, ways to organize your time and your work. It's a lot of reading and then absorption and you know, writing. So allowing some time for that. But once you have a kind of structure in place, all of the courses throughout the program follow the exact same cadence. So you have due dates on the same day. And so you'll, once you get through that first few weeks, you'll see that you'll develop a rhythm and get into that. And absolutely, you're going to learn from, you know, your peers as much as they're going to learn from you. You come to this with a huge background and experience that is, you know, valuable. And so absolutely share that with your peers.
Amy, do you want to expand on the structure of the courses?
In terms of, you know, the general cadence and delivery.
Yes.
So they are broken up into weeks. And early in the week, you'll start a new week and you'll have, you know, required readings. There'll be something from the textbook, some articles usually. You'll have a discussion post. So you'll respond to a prompt and post that to the discussion board on Wednesdays. And that's due by the end of Wednesday. And then you have until the end of Friday to read and review and reply to 3 of your peers within that time frame. And then over the weekend, you have time to work on a writing assignment. And that's usually the structure, at least for the courses that I teach. And you have a writing assignment that is due on Monday evenings. And then you'll start the next week?
And like Amy said, that holds consistent. So again, the routine is so important. And once you get I work on discussions on these days, I respond to discussions on these days, I work on my writing assignment on these days. Once you have that down, you'll be able to carry that all the way through to the capstone course, which is really a great thing and kind of a unique characteristic of this program. So you don't have to relearn that routine or reset that routine each time that you go into a new course. All the instructors will be consistent throughout.
Okay. Now that'll be helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
To stay regimented, I guess, and in balance. So
the other thing I think is helpful is you get all of the lessons up front. You can kind of, if you need to adjust, sometimes, people have a vacation, they have to travel for work, that, the week is going to be different. It gives you the opportunity to kind of work ahead and maybe work on an assignment so that you can get that in the can before you have to be, gone or busy with something else.
So you're saying that you can submit your postings like a week in advance, if that week you have stuff you have to do, like I'm in the military and I might be like in the field for a week, right? Is that what you're saying? Like we can put stuff in advance?
Yes, and I think, different instructors may have different feelings about that. Discussions sometimes, because we tend to want to have a lot of back and forth. We don't want somebody just to post and then, vanish. But if you need to get something in early, generally, I don't have a problem with that. Knowing that people's, schedules are, sometimes the way they are. Discussions are really important, though, in terms of being able to have that give and take with your other classmates. So you do kind of have to participate on that, during the week that it happens.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense.
Plus, assignments often have students submit assignments early. So Amy mentioned, you have the weekend to work on an assignment. Doesn't mean you can't turn that assignment in on Thursday or Friday of the previous week if you're ready. The assignments are due by Monday at 11:55 p.m. Eastern time. So I often have students submit early, and even the final project, students will submit that early just so that they can wrap up and maybe have a nice couple of days off before the next term.
And I'll expand. All three of the instructors talked about written assignments. That's because they're so familiar with the intro courses. But as you get into some of the other courses, you're going to find that it's not always a written assignment. There's projects or real world assignments. A number of our courses actually use technology that's used in the real world. So you'll get to experiment with that. And then it might be a video presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. And we don't make you do that live because we have students all over the place. So it's hard to get everyone onto Zoom at one time. But we are really trying to build in more real world activities into the courses. So it won't always be a writing assignment, but you'll have some fun experiences there.
It might be helpful. Might be helpful too. Just, I know fear of the unknown can be can really get you. And if you don't mind, I'll just share a little bit about the structure of the IMC course, and then Dan and Amy, you can talk about your intro course. But Cindy mentioned real world, and really we structure the intro course, even though it's writing assignments, to be around a real world client. So basically, on the first week, I'm going to say to you in the lesson that you are going to compete for a $20 million IMC campaign for a client, and we'll assign the client. Everyone will be working on that client. And really over the course of the IMC, this is the IMC 410 course, you're going to build an IMC plan for that client. A secret for those of you who are in the IMC program, the client is Firehouse Subs, if you want to get a head start. So there's a bonus for attending the AMA, right? Basically, you'll build out a brand background, a situation analysis. You'll do market research on that client in the first week. That's probably going to be that most traditional paper that you're going to write in that class. And then from there, you're going to identify the target audience that you want to focus your campaign around. You'll develop some measurable campaign objectives, anticipate, what you want your campaign to accomplish for the client. You'll identify those IMC strategies. You'll develop your creative strategy statement and your creative brief. And then you'll develop specific plans around paid media. So how we're going to use advertising for this, earned media, owned media. And then at the end, you'll identify how you'll evaluate your campaign. And then you'll submit that final campaign as your final project in the course. So it's really kind of scaffolded up to this final IMC plan that you'll submit. You'll get your 3 credits at the end. You'll have a nice portfolio piece as well. And that's the IMC 410 course for the Integrated Marketing Communications program.
Yeah, and the digital marketing, the intro to digital marketing communications, intro to digital marketing course in the digital marketing communications program is structured very similarly. We allow you to choose a brand, and then you do some of the background, external and internal research on that brand. The first iteration of that writing assignment is you're coming up with just a broad approach and structure towards a potential digital marketing campaign for that particular brand. And then throughout the course, each week builds on that. So when we talk about email marketing and content marketing, you build a keyword strategy or an email marketing plan or a content marketing plan for that specific brand. And then it gives you an opportunity. It's more like a low risk approach. So it gives you an opportunity to apply what you've learned and then get direct feedback on it that you can then apply directly to that assignment to make any revisions or refinements that are necessary, so that by the end of the course, it's all scaffolded on itself, and it allows you this opportunity to really learn a lot of the fundamentals on a deep level and directly apply them.
The data marketing program is a little different. We don't have you don't pick a brand that you stick with throughout the intro course. But the intro is really designed to be kind of a little sampling of all of the courses to come. The data marketing program is pretty structured in terms of that. There's not a lot of electives. Everybody pretty much follows the same path. So that allows us to give you, a little sampling of talking about loyalty, talking about social media metrics, talking about programmatic media, all the different topics that we'll get into throughout the program. The assignments are kind of a variety. There's a couple of papers, written papers. We also have a couple of interactive labs that are real world simulations where you kind of go through and get questions and answer that. And then the final assignment is more of a presentation, more of a business presentation that again brings some of these things all together. So it's a little bit more of a variety of things in the data intro.
Do we have any other questions? We don't want to dominate. We want you to ask questions.
I mean, I have a question about the assignment, but it's probably way too premature to even ask. My brain was kind of swirling when you were talking about like the Firehouse subs exercise, and through my work in public relations, whenever we're developing a large scale communication plan, like before doing the research and determining our budget, we always try to figure out like what's the problem we're trying to solve. That way we know what type of research we should be doing. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I didn't know if that will be clear when we work on that, or if it's just kind of like a standard, we want to obviously increase sales, or open a new market in an area that's been untapped or something of that nature.
In the IMC course, I think that's really yours to define. I think you can define what problem you want to solve based on what problems you uncover through your research. So I'm not going to be overly prescriptive of that. I think you might identify what the opportunity may be. The only prompt that we sort of give just to get you started is that you are trying to win the Firehouse subs account from Restaurant Brands International. So putting together that IMC plan and making it competitive and creative.
That sounds fun. Thank you.
Yeah, you'll have some flexibility there.
Hi, Dan. I'm not sure if you see the questions in the chat, but that's related to the
Yes.
data marketing, if you can touch on those.
Sure, yes. The biggest question everybody always has about the data program is how much math is involved. And I'll tell you that I avoided math in my undergraduate studies every chance I got. Not a math person at all, but this is not math. This is not, you're not going to be doing heavy computations. You're not doing real data science. This is about how you apply data for marketing communications. And I think that's really important. I'm not going to lie, there is some math involved, but we also give you basically worksheets that you can fill in. So it's more about understanding the concepts than it is about the calculations. And so all of those are templates that we provide where you can figure out things like return on investment or payback. And all those are concepts that are explained in the textbook and the lessons. And as I said, you just have to plug the variables in and it does all the calculation for you. So I think that's really helpful as far as that goes. Question about how much practical work is involved. We try to make it as practical as possible. I mean, some of these are academic papers, so you're kind of writing in that format, but most of them rely on you picking a real world example or real brand to talk about how they do loyalty marketing, how they use their database and things like that. So it's very practical in that sense. But yes, it's written in the form of a paper. And as I said, the final is really a business presentation where you're going to pitch a client basically and bring together all the concepts we talked about. There are no exams. Again, it's the written assignments, and as I said, we do have the 2 interactive labs, but you actually get graded on that just for completing them. It's not so much how much you got right. So in that sense, it's not even really a test. And no specific apps that are required. As I said, we'll provide the templates for a couple of the things that you'll need for the calculations, but otherwise it's kind of basic Excel and all of that. In terms of hours, and this is kind of depends on who you are and how quickly you read, how quickly you absorb, how deep you want to go into it. I think it kind of varies, but you may need to think about, do you like to do a little bit every day? Do you like to be the person who sits down on Saturday or in the evening and really crunches through the whole lesson or the whole readings for the week? But definitely, you need to allow probably 4 to 5 hours a week for the lessons, the readings, the kind of studying that on top of what you would need to put in for your discussions and your assignments. So I hope that answered all the questions.
So prior to the start of the term, what suggestions do you have for students so that they can prepare? That's always one we hear. So if one of the instructors will take that, I'd appreciate it.
I was just going to speak to that, actually.
Yeah, go, Amy.
Well, I can speak on some more from a research perspective. I'm currently working on my dissertation, so I've been doing kind of a deep dive and what are some of those strategies and best practices in terms of student performance and persistence in online higher education. And 2 key things come up again and again in the research, particularly when looking at things like creating a community of inquiry. 2 ways to really set yourself up for success is 1, connect with your instructor, and 2, connect with your peers. Forming those connections are critical, particularly in the online space, because distance learning kind of creates this sort of digital disconnect that can happen. So if you can reach out to your instructor, send him or her an email that first week of class, set up a time to meet with them, get to know them, ask them what their specific expectations are. Each of us are a little bit different in how we grade and instruct. So get to know them and on an individual level, and then connect with your peers. Currently, I am teaching students who are in Germany and France. I have a student from the Caribbean, another student from the West Coast. Some are recent grads, some are older, some have established careers in marketing. Some of them are just trying to get into the marketing industry. Each of them has unique perspectives that can offer you real value. And at the very least, it can be sort of like a, we're in the trenches together kind of experience where you're able to kind of help and support each other. So those are my two big things. As soon as that class starts, reach out to the instructor and connect with your peers.
That's great advice, Amy. I would say that, and actually I asked this question at the end of my class. So I always ask students the last week of the class to give advice for the incoming class. Then I share that those responses verbatim. And I would say that one common theme comes down to finding that routine and finding that balance and really sticking to it. And another thing that I've seen recently is students really saying to embrace the incremental time. So an hour here, an hour there, dedicating your lunch hour Monday through Thursday to work on the class, taking a day off on the weekend, doing an hour in the morning before you go to work. When you start to do the math, and this will be the only math that you'll see in this class, but when you start to do the math on that, I mean, you can have 10 hours right there, just incrementally during time that you might be doing something else, rather than sitting down, trying to do 5 hours a night, multiple days during the week. You can really kind of build that up throughout the course. And the beauty of asynchronous learning is you can do that on your own time and whatever works best for you. The other thing that I would recommend is picking a day to take that day off. And I do that too. So for me, Sundays, I wake up, I grade discussions on Saturdays, and Sunday, I'm usually not engaged in the class. Don't try not to log into eCampus just to give myself a day off. Obviously, I'll respond to email if it comes in, but I try to take a day, and I think that's a good best practice for students too.
Matthew, will you touch on networking opportunities so that students are prepared to market themselves once they graduate?
Yeah, so Amy touched on this, and Dan too. Really getting to know your fellow students. So in the intro week during the class, it's not a graded discussion. It's optional, but I really encourage you to embrace that and get to know the other students. Amy mentioned she has students in Germany. She has students all around the world. What a great opportunity. So you're going to learn a lot in this class, but what a great opportunity too to get to know people who might be hiring, who might know about interesting jobs, who might live in a city that you want to move to. And so building that network in the intro course and then continuing to build that network over time, checking in with friends that you make in the intro course and other classes just to see how they're doing and how they're progressing through the program is really invaluable. And I would say is almost equally as valuable as the degree itself, and what you'll learn is the network that you'll build.
And we also engage a lot of our alumni, so they can help you. A number of our alumni now own their own business or have pretty high up positions. So they share job postings with us, and then Stephanie puts them out on the job board. So take advantage of all the networking opportunities in the program.
And I think the mentorship program's another thing. It's another opportunity. I had an opportunity to mentor someone who I never had as a student, but and we've continued to stay in touch as well. So that's another way to even connect with other people that you may not have as an instructor in your particular program.
Now, I know we're not required to come into the campus for anything as far as with these programs, but is there any benefit to coming? Like, is there events that happen that maybe get a little extra out of, like those networking kind of things or any of that kind of stuff? I travel to West Virginia sometimes on work, so it's kind of one of those things like, oh, I could probably swing in for something if something's going on.
Well, if you're in Morgantown, we welcome you to come by, visit us, tour our space. We're always excited to have our students stop by. So don't ever hesitate to reach out if you're going to be in the area.
Sounds good.
We have a message in the chat that's asking of can one switch programs in case one needs to? Well, you can switch programs. I mean, we would have to make sure you're qualified for another program, but if you're going to switch programs, I encourage you to do that quickly. Because as you know, the programs are 10 courses. We don't want you to get too far down because especially in the data program, a lot of those courses will not transfer into the digital or integrated marketing communications programs. So if you feel like after that first course, if the program is not the best fit, then please let your advisor know. So Wendy will work with you to determine the best path forward. And then there's a question about payment plan. I can send that information out when I send the video because all of that is through student accounts. That's not in our office. So I will make a note here and send that information. Are there any other questions?
You guys let us off easy.
Well, anything else to add then that would benefit the students?
I was just going to say, don't hesitate to ask questions. If you're ever unsure, I know as an instructor, I would much rather you spend all of your time and cognitive bandwidth on learning the concepts instead of trying to figure it out exactly what it is we're looking for in terms of what the prompt is. So any questions, whether it's about concepts or whether you feel it's a silly question or an important question, send us an email because that's what we're here for. We want to help facilitate your learning process as much as possible.
Yeah, I would second that. I mean, I've had the opportunity to rewrite a couple of the courses, and even though I think, you know, those assignments have got to be crystal clear, I know I've made it very, very clear exactly what I'm expecting. I'm amazed how many times I later see, because I get a question, that it wasn't clear, that there's different ways of interpreting it. So chances are, if you have a question, everybody else does too, and they're just afraid to ask. And so please don't hesitate to be the one to raise your hand and ask, and you know, we'd love to clarify things whenever we can, or just help you understand something that maybe isn't clear in a lesson or a reading.
Yeah, it's a good point. And there are no gotchas in these programs. I mean, we really want you to embrace this and understand the material, and it's much better for us to answer those questions on the front end than have to answer those questions in the feedback afterwards. So you know, please never hesitate to reach out to your instructors or the team that's on here. You know, Stephanie, Chad, Cindy, Sean, Wendy. As you see just by their attendance today, this is a team that's committed to student success. I had the pleasure of working with them closely for a few years as an administrator in this program, and I've never seen anything like it. And so rely on them for support too outside of the classroom.
So we have another question in the chat. I'm assuming it says, are there retakes or every answer is right? This is regarding the data program. So is that related to the labs that Dan mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, if this is about the labs, then Basically, the way that works is it's a series of questions. You get a situation, you get a series of questions, and then if you don't get the answer right, then it returns you with the correct answer so you can understand the concept. But the way we grade that is not on is not on accuracy. It's really graded on just completing the modules, because again, it's about learning, and if you can get the idea, if you get the correct answer and you can process that, then that's more important than necessarily just testing you right off the bat on that.
Okay, clarification, retakes, she means by failing a course. Yes, you have to obtain a C- in a course in order to pass at the graduate level. So if you receive a lower grade, you would have to retake the course. Sean, Wendy, I know you've worked with a lot of these individuals. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have anything to add?
I'll go. Great seeing everyone that I've met with, which I think I've met with every student that's on here. So I will reiterate what Amy said, ask questions, reach out. If you're not getting feedback from your instructor, let me know. I can try and get in touch with them, but always reach out to your instructor first. If there's anything non-academic related, I try and help you and get you the information as much as possible. You can kind of build how you want to do things. You don't have to don't overwhelm yourself by taking 2 courses every term if you don't want to. We want you to be successful. So there is a little bit of leeway in that. So always remember that. Like I said, I think I've met with everyone on here. So, I'm your point of contact as much as possible. So you'll hear from me a lot during your time. So, ask questions. Don't be afraid. We're not scary.
Yeah, and I'll reiterate some of that as that everyone has said so far. Definitely network. It's a big opportunity, especially for the online programs, like Amy was saying. There is that distance between us, but the opportunities between the classes to network is so significant. You never know what a connection can be, especially for your future career.
Actually, I'm going to ask about a question about the class. What are the sizes like? What are these? Like how many other students are we going to be interacting with and working with?
Amy.
Oh, I was going to say all classes are capped at 20. So no section is going to be more than 20 students.
Okay.
And with the small classes, you really are going to have that opportunity to get to know your classmates. I'm impressed with the friendships that's come out of the program. At graduation is the first time a lot of the students meet one another, and you would never know that because it's like they're best friends.
And with the DINFOS program, you'll actually see a lot of familiar people in the classes with you, based off of the classes that you guys are taking for that program.
Now, are DINFOS students, like those in the DINFOS program, are still mixed in with all the other IMC students, correct? Like that's all very much mixed. It's not a.
So the DINFOS program, if they're taking like an area of emphasis, they are mixed with all the other students. If not, there's a designated section like of the intro course for them and some of the other core courses. But when they start going into areas of emphasis, they're with all the IMC students.
I'm going to go ahead and jump in too. Also with DINFOS, so while we do have designated sections, for that specific cohort, we found that the needs of our active duty military personnel are such that some folks have needed to go off cohort in order to keep their studies in order to keep things sort of balanced in their world. And so, and we encourage and support that, but in those cases, sometimes in order to get them back into track, we'll put them into a regular section as well. So there's some variation. I think one of the things that's important to note, if you have a question or concern, contact Wendy. She'll work out an individual schedule with you. That'll work, with your current challenges, whether DINFOS or otherwise. But we really want to have the program sort of reflects around what's going on in your lives, so that you can get the most out of your graduate experience. So we really do try to sort of balance around things, and so that can take you out of, if you are DINFOS, it could take you out of some of those sections. We do really try to keep you within the cohort, particularly for the intro course and for the capstone. And then most of the core courses, we do try to keep that together. And the reason is because we're using instructors that are familiar with some of the brands and some of the considerations of active duty military personnel and public affairs in today's world. Whereas a lot of our specialty courses and otherwise are more applicable regardless of where you are in your career. And so it's really been valuable for us to try to keep folks together in certain courses. So that's why we've done it.
Are there any other questions? Okay, well, we won't hold you. And after the video processes, I'll send it out via email. And I will also put the student accounts and the financial aid links in there as well, in case there are additional questions. But keep in mind, we're here, our entire team. We want you to be successful. So don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything we can do.
Elizabeth had one more question, Cindy, in the chat.
Okay, sorry. Elizabeth, go ahead. Okay, let me see. Are there live lessons? They're not lessons. We do have some Zoom sessions. It depends on the instructor. They may have a speaker, or they may hold a study session, something of that nature. But we do realize that it's impossible for everyone to join at the same time. So they are recorded and will be made available in the class.
The other thing I'd throw in there too is I know in some of my courses, one in particular, I've recorded a lot of video lessons just because some students would rather hear it, believe it or not, hear me drone on about it than to read it. So I've recorded some of that, and it does help in some ways to get to expand on some of the concepts a little bit more than just reading it. So that's another way in some cases you might be able to get the lesson in addition to the writing.
And then we also have a new tool in all of our courses, and it will read the lessons to you if you prefer that instead of reading to yourself. I know some say that it takes too much time for them to sit and read through all the lessons. So that may help you to have it read to you. I use it while I'm cooking dinner or doing dishes. I'm letting it read to me. So it is a great time saver. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us. And like I said, don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything we can do for you. And we're really looking forward to you joining us in January or orientation. Orientation's going to open next week, so you'll be hearing from Wendy about that as well. But we're here to help. So thank you, and have a great day, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.